Hi there, everyone. I'm Christine Kidder Graves. I'm a career coach helping you have work that works for you. And today I am asking you the question, what if your work was great? What if your work energized you and it didn't suck the life out of you? It wasn't draining. And I know many of you have work that is draining. It does suck the life out of you and it really depletes you. So you're not able to show up in all the other areas of your life. And who wants that? The way I view our work is, I mean, we all have been given unique skills and talents. There's nobody else on this planet who's like you. And you were called to use your unique skills and talents to be invaluable to others. And that should be energizing. That should feel really good. And that should help you to excel in other areas of your life. But again, if work isn't great, like when you see people that you haven't seen before, just in general conversation, when you're chit chatting with people, how's life? How are things going? How's work? What if you were able to say, work is great, work is awesome, and you felt really good about it and you didn't feel drained? That would allow you to have an extraordinary life, not just a ho hum, good, ordinary life. There's many people having an ordinary life, but what do you want? What do you really want? What's going to work for you? And I have three things for you to do to start doing today that will help make work better for you. I'm going to jump right into it with the first thing. The first thing is to reflect. And by the way, all three of these things are the three keys in my one on one coaching program that I have with my clients. The first step is a reflect, as I was just saying. To reflect, you really need to be thinking, oh, I better be checking. Yeah. Okay, good. I wanted to make sure that my sound was working because when I've done this before, I actually did a LinkedIn Live and the sound did not work for the whole thing. It was so frustrating. So, want to make sure that all the technical things are good. They were good right before I went live, but you never know. Okay, so getting back to reflect. What can you do to what action do you need to take for this first step that I recommend for you? Reflect. What I recommend is that you really at the end of every day, and you can just fold this into your normal process, like when you wrap up your work day and then when you're planning the next work day. I mean, I recommend that you do the two things together. So at the end of your day today, review the day, look at what your wins were, look at what didn't go so well, reflect and think about that. Okay, and then also to use that in planning tomorrow. Right. So again, taking the time to reflect on your day. But the big question for you to ask is, did I get to do what I'm really good at and what I love? Because we all have those things that are in both of those categories. There are things that we're really good at, and they are things that we love to do, that we enjoy doing. Okay. There's always going to be things that you're good at doing but you really don't enjoy doing them so much, and you want to try to decrease those as much as you can, but sometimes they just come part part of the job. But the thing for you to focus on is, what do you love doing and what are you good at? So those are the two key things. That's the question that I want you to ask yourself. Okay, so that again, that's for the first step of reflect. And my dog is chiming in the background as usual. All right, the next step is plan. Having a plan. Um, we always need to have a plan. I'm constantly saying, and my master class is starting up again next week. It's my Land Your Ideal Role in 90 days. It's a free master class, and it starts on Monday. Every session, there's three sessions, but they're about 45 minutes each. And you definitely need to come to that because even if you're very happy in your current job, you still want to have a plan. You want to be prepared. Look at all of the tech layoffs that we've had so far this year. I think many of those people, I talked with someone from Google yesterday. She had no idea that this was coming, and she didn't think that it would have gone down the way it went down, but it happened. We need to have a plan. We need to be prepared for the worst case scenario. So, all of you people out there who are very happy in your job, what's your plan? If you don't have a plan, join us next week. It's super easy to do. So, again, plan is the second key, the second step to take to make work better. So, by not only being in the master class next week, what else can you do? What can you have for your plan? Um, you like what are you doing to be better in your job and to expand? What is like part of your plan? And do you know what's next too? Do you know what you're working toward? You may not need you don't have to know the don't have to see the entire staircase. You don't have to see the entire route that's ahead of you, but you should have an idea. You should have clarity around what is next for you. What is that next step? So, and with that question, I mean, that is the question. What is next for me? What am I working toward? Okay. And then the even bigger question though, and this is when I'm working with my clients on their plan, their career plan, and maybe it's with a client who is actively looking for a role because I work with clients who are both actively doing a job search. And then I also work with clients who want to know what's next. What is the next step for them? And then there are those clients that I work with who are brand new in a role and they need a plan. They need to have their 90-day plan because they want to be successful. They've met the first hurdle of landing a job, but they need that 90-day plan because they want to be successful. So the main question for you to ask yourself with this second step of plan is, what do I need to do today? What's the one thing that I need to do today in order to move the needle in the direction that I want to move it? If you only had to pick one thing, what is that one thing that I need to focus on, that I need to really, you know, pay attention to? Okay, and then the third the third step in my program is connect. Connecting is key. It's like the heart of it's definitely the heart of all your actions when you are doing a job search, because that's what makes your job search be effective is your connection work that you're doing. And then also too, when you are not in job search mode, when you are really happy in your job, you still need to be connecting. I've talked with people, and maybe some of you that are watching this right now have experienced this, where you've had job changes, you've had more than one job in your career, but you really didn't have to do a job search because you had connections. You were able to leverage your connections, and which again, you didn't have to do a job search because you were able to leverage your connections enough to find the next opportunity, to know what was next. Okay. I talked with someone yesterday who that has been her experience in her she's got a good amount of a career. I mean, she's at least 20 years of solid experience, but now she finds herself having to do a job search for the first time. There's nothing wrong with that, but if you can, you want to always be using your connections, because the ideal would be not having to do a job search, not having to do the traditional job search. Okay. So connection. What what is the main question for you to ask yourself regarding this third step that's really important of connection? The main question for you to ask is, who do I need to talk to today who is in my existing connections? Okay, or at least reach out to. You might not be able to have the live conversation with them today, but you should at least reach out to them. So maybe it's someone that you haven't talked to in a while, but they've been on your mind, maybe your past boss or a past coworker, but do that. So reach out to that existing contact. And then the second question, well, it's part B of this question. What's a new connection that I need to make? Again, to move my needle. Like, is there was I introduced to someone and do I need to follow up with them? Like really doing so paying attention to your existing connections and new connections. And I want you to take at least 5 minutes a day. That's all you have to do is just a day. And look at your schedule. Look at your calendar. Don't just tell me, "Oh, Christine, sure, I will do it." No, I want you to look at your calendar and decide now, when am I going to take my 5 minutes today to be on LinkedIn, to reach out to an existing connection, to try to make a new connection, to send a connection request to somebody. Maybe there's a company that you really like. You want to learn more about the company. You're thinking, wow, it could be really great to work there. Do you have any existing connections there? Maybe you do. Maybe you can make a new connection there. So ask one of your existing connections for an introduction. Or you could just like look at the new connections, look at the people there at that company, see if there's anyone that you are a second degree connection to, anyone that you have anything in common, some type of common ground. Common ground helps us to make our connections. Then go ahead and make that new connection request. But yeah, that's the question to ask with this third step of connect is out of my existing connections, who should I reach out today to move the needle in the direction that I want to move it to? And then who's who would be a good new connection for me to make? If you did that for 5 minutes every day, I think you'd be in a lot better shape with your connections. And then maybe, just maybe, if something were to happen with your job, if you suddenly lose your job, you have good connections that you can fall back on. And maybe you won't have to do a job search. Maybe you would just be, reaching out to your connections and you would have your next position shortly. Um, or the other thing too is you may be happy in your current role, but what if there's an opportunity out there that will stretch you even more? You don't know what you don't know, but if you are doing a good job of maximizing, optimizing your LinkedIn profile, and we did a free training on that last Friday. It was a huge success. I got tons of feedback on it over the past couple days, and it was great. So we will be doing that again. I might even make it actually a bonus for our master class next week because that's how successful it was. So yeah, so you definitely want to register for next week's master class because we're going to really try to cover as much as we can on LinkedIn to help you with that too, because that's part of landing your next ideal role is fully leveraging LinkedIn so your brand is shining through. Why is that important? Especially if you're sitting at your desk, you're in a great job, you're very happy. Again, don't you want people to know you exist? Don't you want to be found if there is this amazing opportunity that's out there? Wouldn't you want that recruiter to find you or that hiring manager to find you on LinkedIn and to reach out to you and to have a conversation with you? Get out of hiding. Get discovered. Be found on LinkedIn. The only way you're going to be found for the opportunities that you want to be found for, the only way you're going to be found and discovered is if your brand is shining through your LinkedIn profile. And I love working with my clients, helping them with that. That's my favorite thing. All right. So now I had promised that about 15 minutes in, I'd be talking about what the number one block is to you having work that's great. When you're asked that question, how's work? You can honestly say, work is awesome. I'm having a ball. I'm having a great time. I mean, that's what we want because when that happens, then all the other areas of your life are better too because there's not that energy suck that work can have on us. It really helps us to have the extraordinary life that we really want. So, so the number one block to having energizing work is really it comes down to accepting the status quo. The status quo is very powerful. We're all immersed in it, in the status quo. And the number one block is telling yourself that you don't have enough time. You don't have enough time. That's a big lie. That's a big lie. If you are okay with the status quo and you're good with it, then that's fine. But if you're not okay with the status quo, you have to realize that every time you tell yourself that there's not enough time, that's a lie. We're all given 24 hours a day. Now, I don't want you to take time for granted. I don't want you to be like, I can take as much time as I need. No, that's not the case. But I don't want you to, it doesn't serve you to tell yourself that you don't have enough time. You do. You have 24 hours of time. That's enough. That is more than enough. So that is enough time. And really, it you get to choose. You get to choose how you spend your time. What do you really value? Do you value the status quo? If you value the status quo, then you're going to be stuck in that number one block of there's not enough time. But if you don't value the status quo, if you want that extraordinary life, and if you want work that works for you, then you're going to make, realize that you do have the time and the time is now. Now, granted, we only have 24 hours. I mean, we need to be really present and focused. We can't take the future for granted. But yeah, if you really want energizing work, if you want work that works for you, then we need to stop telling ourselves that there's not enough time because we do have enough time. And yeah, not to accept the status quo. So yeah, so those are my three things again. So start today to reflect, plan, and connect. And really, with reflect again, the question was, what am I doing today that I'm really good at and that I love? All right. And then for your plan, it's like, what's the one thing that you need to do to move the needle toward your career goal that you're working toward? Okay. And then with the third, with connect, the question was, who in my existing connections do I need to reach out today? And what new connection do I need to make today? So if you start today by asking those questions, and again, block out 5 minutes today on your calendar to do that connection work, I think you'll definitely be in much better shape. So we do have the link for the masterclass in the comments. So we would love to see you. That would be great. And please join us. We are getting full in the masterclass. So definitely you don't want to miss out on it. Just click on the link and save your seat. And yeah, again, thank you so much for joining us and for watching today. And feel free to make some comments or write some comments in. And yeah, we're very excited about next week's masterclass. Again, we're going to try to review or optimize your LinkedIn profile content as well, since that was such a big hit on Friday. So yeah. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and we'll see you hopefully next week in our master class to land your ideal role in 90 days or less. Bye.